Hello, hello, happy Sunday, and welcome to the weekend service here at Celebration Spiritual Center. We are so happy and grateful to be here with you as we gather together to celebrate the magnificence and significance of the presence and power of God operating in, through, and as us. Let us begin, as we always do, with prayer. And I want to share a reading today from the Daily Word. The word is an appropriate one. It's release. And the affirmation, I release and move forward with a grateful heart. Although any experience can be seen as a gift bringing new insight or deeper understanding, it may be hard to appreciate it at first. When I struggle to release a painful memory, I can open my mind and heart to better receive the gift of that experience. For instance, learning why a relationship ended shows me where I can grow in understanding and empathy. Feeling the unconditional love of God, I forgive my past weaknesses and make amends where I can. When I recognize that holding on to resentment hurts only me, I can more easily release it and forgive it. Blessed by the power of release and grateful for the power of God within, I move forward, ready to live and love fully again. The affirmation, I release and move forward with a grateful heart. And so from this place of awareness, I invite you to get still, to close your eyes, and let's take a collective, intentional breath in right here. And we release. Bringing the focus of our attention here and now, we breathe in. And we breathe out. Sinking deeper in the mind of God, we breathe in. And we breathe out. The past is gone, the future is yet to come, and we are here now. Here and now, I remember and recognize that there is only one mind, only one power, only one presence that is working in all, through all, and as all. There is one life. That life is Mother, Father, God. That life is perfect, whole, and complete, and it is my life now. That life is perfect, whole, and complete, and it is your life now. That life is perfect, whole, and complete, and it is all life now. It is the life of the mountain. It is the life of the sea. It is the life of the river. It is the life of the lake. It is the life of the insect. It is the life of the flower petal. It is the life of the blade of grass. It is the life of every hair on your head. It is the life of all. And it is your life. It is my life. It is our life now. For what I know to be true is that God is now and only now. It neither comes nor goes. God is right here and right now. That means that any and everything that you could ascribe to God, it is present with you right now. That means that anything and everything that I could ascribe to this power and presence that I call Mother, Father, God, it is right here with me and within me now. Love is here now. Good is here now. Healing is here now. Prospering power is here now. Joy is here now. Ease is here now. Grace is here now. Comfort is here now. Nurturing is here now. Compassion is here now. Empathy is here now. All of God, all of good, it is here and it is now. It is with us and within us. For what I remember and know to be true is that we are one with God and one of God. We are the activity and the activation of God here on this planet we call Earth. What I know to be true is that what God is in the large, we are in the small. We are divine beings. We are unique, particularized, undivided, beautiful, powerful expressions of the divine. So right here and right now, we choose to be greater vessels. We choose to be more harmonious instruments of that power, that presence, that peace, that good that God is. We open our hearts and our minds and we prosper. We open our hearts and our minds and we heal. We open our hearts and our minds and only good comes from it. We open our hearts and our minds and there is joy. We open our hearts and our minds and we live as worthy beings. We open our hearts and our minds and we know the good that is becomes the good of our minds, and out of our minds, our lives must follow. I'm so grateful and thankful for Celebration Spiritual Center. I'm so grateful and thankful for this weekend service, for this gathering, for this community, for the beautiful souls that make up this community as we endeavor to be lighthouses on planet Earth, as we endeavor to boldly live out our worthiness so that others may know their worthiness as well. And so it is from this place of awareness that I now release this prayer. I release it back into the law, which is always in operation, responding and becoming according to the pattern of thought that we provide. And this pattern that we have provided, it is healing, it is constructive, it is powerful, it is beautiful, it is brilliant. It is good. And so only good can come from this word. With joy and thanksgiving, we now lift up our voices and we say, Amen,
Amen.
Ashe.
Ashe.
And so it is.
So it is.
So it is, and so it must be. Well, hello again. Happy Sunday. I'm Pastor Greg.
I'm Pastor Yolanda.
And we're so happy and grateful to be here with you on this Sunday, on the fifth Sunday in June, as we are, of course, in masterclass mode, and we're continuing to grow and thrive together as a community, continue to grow and prosper together as a community. If you are a first-time guest, hello, welcome. We're so grateful that something or someone brought you here to Celebration Spiritual Center today. And we're confident that something will be done, something will be said that will support you in living an empowered life and also thriving in your life. Now, the first time you come to CSC, you're a guest, but when you come back, you're family. And so we welcome you to the CSC family. The information you see here on your screen is how you access your digital connection card. This is our way to stay in touch with you and for you to stay in touch with us. All you have to do is text the keyword welcome there on your screen to that phone number, 347-472-1078. Just the keyword. No additional messages, emojis, hello, I love it here's are needed. When you text that keyword, you'll receive an automated reply with a link. Click that link and enter your information. We just need your name and your email address. That'll put you on our mailing list and you'll receive all the correspondence that we send out each week. We have a weekly newsletter that comes out on Fridays, and we send out other messages as necessary throughout the week. Promise we won't inundate you with messages. That's not something we do here at CSC. Additionally, as you may want to get in touch with us, you can respond to any of those emails and it will get to us and we'll respond accordingly. But again, we're happy that you're here and we're excited about what you will receive. And we're excited about the growth and expansion of your life as a result of being willing to be here today, as a result of opening your heart and mind to expand your awareness of who and what you are and who and whose you are. So this is a wonderful opportunity now for us to move into our news and updates. And from there, we can move forward with the meditation and then get into today's masterclass chapter. Happy Pride, New York.
Yes,
Happy
yes.
Pride, New York. This is the last Sunday of Pride. And of course, we know that the last Sunday of Pride brings the best, the greatest Pride parade on the planet. Here in New York, of course, we recognize that Pride exists because of New York. We recognize that Pride was initially an uprising here in New York, primarily spearheaded by trans folks. We need to name that truth. And we recognize that the heart of the celebration of Pride is really about this desire still to affirm the truth that yes, all people matter, but we need to be clear that our LGBTQ plus folks matter. You are loved. We affirm you, and CSC will always be a safe space for you. And as your pastors, we will always be safe pastors for you. If you have a prayer request, you can send in that prayer request to prayerchampions@celebration.sc.org. We are always holding the entire community in our hearts and our minds, knowing the highest and best for you. And we recognize that you may have a specific prayer request. Send it in, and we are happy to add you to the prayer list. And as your prayer is answered, we encourage you to send an email to prayerchampions@celebration.sc.org and let us know how prayer is working in your life or in the life of a loved one whose name you may have submitted. There's so many powerful things that are happening through prayer at CSC, and we share some of those in the sermons, but also on Healing Sunday. And so we would love to share your prosperity report with the community. Every Wednesday morning, we gather together for the Momentum Prayer Call. The Momentum Prayer Call is a wonderful way to be intentional about the start of your day in the middle of the week. And so we begin with a reading, and then we pray and we get on with our day. This also continues the momentum that we create here on Sunday. So we encourage you to be there with us for the Momentum Prayer Call. But if you're not able to be there live for whatever reason, the prayer is recorded. Every prayer is recorded. So at any point in time, if you need prayer, if you desire prayer, I encourage you to use that playback number that you see on your screen, enter the access code, and wait, and the most recent prayer will play. Now, you've heard me say, we are in masterclass mode. And as we are in masterclass mode, that means we are studying a book this summer. And the book that we're studying this summer is Open Your Mind to Prosperity by Catherine Ponder. If you do not have the book, we encourage you to get it. But if you don't have it right now, all good, because one of the things that we do in the masterclass is go through the text page by page, line by line. And so you'll receive the benefits of this week's chapter as you wait for your book to arrive, et cetera, et cetera. We also encourage you can let your friends know about the masterclass and invite them to join us, invite them to get the book as well. Our study series of the month is The Dynamic Laws of Prosperity. Catherine Ponder wrote a prosperity trilogy, starting with The Dynamic Laws of Prosperity. And we did a sermon series on this book some years ago. So we think this is a wonderful sermon series for you to watch and revisit and listen as you are reading Open Your Mind to Prosperity, as you are meditating and keeping your heart and mind on prosperity ideas and maintaining a consciousness of prosperity. This will support you in doing that. This is available on the home page of our YouTube channel. And that concludes our news and updates for this Sunday, this fifth Sunday. And so that means that we have the wonderful opportunity now to go within as we are led in meditation with the meditation experience led by PY.
Yes, it is definitely time for the meditation experience. The time that we take every Sunday to go within and reconnect to our center, to the God within us for ourselves. As I like to say, you can read all the sacred texts, and obviously we want you to study. But it is only through your direct experience of the God within you for yourself that you know for sure the things that you are reading are true for you. And so we take time every Sunday to do just that. Go within, release our experience with the external world, and get a deeper experience of the internal world, the internal landscape, that place where answers are, where peace is, where love, unconditional love flows from, and where we get to open ourselves more to receive. Now, this is the last week of using I am open to receive all of life's riches as our affirmative thought. And for many of you, yes, you're just like, yes, PY, my arms are open, my heart is open. And for some people, this statement can feel like, ooh, all of life's riches? That feels like a lot of responsibility. Or it can make us think that, how do I make all of that happen? And the beautiful thing about that is you don't make it happen. You allow it to happen. You're not being asked to be more responsible because you open yourself to receive. You're not being asked to make anything happen. You're only being asked to open. You know, I find the real key to what people say leveling up is, it's not about grinding harder. It's teaching your nervous system how to feel safe with more. Many times we get anxious with the idea of receiving more. What do I need to do? How do I need to make it happen? And really what we're doing is relaxing and becoming more receptive to more. More joy, more success, more health, more love, without shutting down or sabotaging it when it arrives. And so you may not be quite at the level of I am completely open to receive all of life's riches. That is a goal. But are you willing to consider it? Are you willing to allow just a little bit more opening every time you relax and meditate? Being open to more possibility is kind of like opening the windows and letting the breeze just move through the space. Our ability to breathe in and out is a natural way that we're automatically opening to receive. But can you be willing to be open to the idea that abundance is your birthright. You might not be fully there yet, but wherever you are, allow this meditation and our time together to open you a little bit more. Can you allow your nervous system to trust the breath and drop deeper and deeper and deeper? So, as we prepare for our silent time, our time of meditation, go ahead and look around the room and notice where you are. Allow your feet to rest comfortably on the floor and your ears over your shoulders, shoulders over hips. Nice alignment. You're not leaning too far forward or too far back. Plant the palms on the tops of the thighs. And as you look around the room, remind yourself that you are safe. That simple thought, I am safe right here and now. And I'm willing to drop deeper and deeper and open more and more. From this place of awareness, in this place of safety and ease, allow the eyelids to gently close. And that simple act of allowing the eyelids to close is also a signal to allow the nervous system to relax, to take your focus off of the external and just notice the breath right now. And whether the breath appears to be deep or appears to be shallow, we place no judgment on the breath. We just are in gratitude that the breath is moving, that the heart is beating, and that as we relax, we become more receptive to all of life's riches. Beautiful, everyone. Now, let's all take conscious control of the breath and bring our focus of awareness deep into the low belly. We're not breathing high up in the chest, signaling that something is wrong. We're allowing the breath to go to its natural resting place, deep in the belly. And we're going to inhale for a count of 4 into the belly. Hold for a count of 4. Relax the jaw and allow the breath to release up and out for a count of 4. And then just sink deeper and deeper for a count of 4. So let's begin. Inhale, expanding the lower belly. Holding it there. And allow the breath to release up and out, sigh it out. And sink deeper and deeper and deeper in mind and a relaxed body. In through the low belly, expanding the low belly like a big balloon. We're so used to holding the belly in. Let's make room for breath, for God, for prosperity to fill the belly with breath. Hold it there. And follow that natural path of breath in and up as you exhale. With that release, sink deeper and deeper and deeper. In through the low belly, up through the rib cage. Now we're connecting breath, low belly to mid breath, expanding the sides of the body, filling up that section. Hold it there. And without collapsing the body, just release the breath. Sigh it out. And as the breath trails off, the relaxation settles in as we sink deeper and deeper and deeper. In through the low belly, up through the rib cage. We've expanded the sides of the body. Now let's send that breath into the back and the front. As we send the breath into the back, we remember we can trust that we're supported by life on every side. Front, back, sides, beneath us, above us, to our left, to our right. And release the breath now. And settle in deeper and deeper and deeper. In through the low belly, up through the rib cage. Again, we're connecting the path of breath from low to mid. And now the energy of breath rises to the heart, but not because we are afraid, but because we're deeply connected to the breath. Our nervous system is grounded, and our breath has room to expand. Hold it there. And as we relax the jaw and release the breath, allow the sound to follow. And sink deeper and deeper and deeper into the awareness of your willingness and every ounce of relaxation. In through the low belly, up through the rib cage, up through and to the heart chakra. So we've grounded, and now we allow the breath to rise to the healing center, the heart. Hold it there. And again, we just release the breath and let it take its path out of the body. And as we sink deeper and deeper and deeper, we prepare the body to be open and receptive to more breath. We don't hustle and grind. We allow our nervous system to relax and become more receptive without sabotaging or pushing. We're open now. As the breath flows in and out, sink deeper and deeper. Beautiful, everyone. Let's slow it down a little more. In and out through the nostrils for counts of 6. In through the nostrils, closing the lips when you reach to the top. Exhaling through the nostrils and sinking deeper and deeper and deeper. Let's begin. Inhale through the nostrils. Hold for 6. Close the lips and exhale through the nostrils for 6. Slowing our pattern of breathing down, signaling our body we're safe to relax, and giving ourselves permission to sink deeper and deeper. Go ahead and practice this deep inhale and exhale through the nostrils on your own rhythm. Slowing it down as you need. But more importantly, sinking into the energy of love, supporting you right where you sit. Complete rounds, loving rounds, nurturing rounds of breath. As our bodies relax more, let's give ourselves permission to do a complete relax. From our scalp, relax. Relax the hair follicles in the head. Relax the forehead, no tension there. Relax the face, the cheeks, the eyes. Letting that energy of relaxation flow down the neck. Resting on the shoulders, not as a heavy weight, but as encouragement to relax deeper. Relax the arms as the energy flows down and out the fingertips. Feel the belly relax, the hips relax, the glutes relax, the thighs and the hamstrings, they relax. There's no tension in the knees or the shins or the calves as the energy flows down the body, across the ankles, and out the soles of our feet. Scan your body to see if there's any tension. Send the breath there. Send willingness there. And notice the slight shifts as you give yourself permission to receive and breathe and relax. I will monitor the time. You take the inward journey, and if the mind wanders, it is okay. The mind is just doing what it does. When you become aware, you can choose to lovingly bring it back to our affirmative thought. I am open to receive all of life's riches. You are open to receive all of life's riches. We are all open to receive all of life's riches now. with our eyelids still closed, check in with yourself from the inside and notice the level of relaxation that you have now as compared to when we first began. With your eyelids still closed, notice that you're open to receive more breath now, more relaxation now, and more of the truth of how life loves and supports you. As we begin to make our return, you come back connected with breath and with life. Plant the palms on the tops of the thighs. Inhale, draw the shoulders up by the ears. And just pausing to allow breath to fill the body. And exhaling nice and easy, relaxing the shoulder blades back and down. Inhale up, noticing that there's still more room for breath. There's more room for God. There's more room for all of life's riches. Exhale, releasing the shoulder blades back and down. And last time, inhale up, filling up with breath. And release the shoulder blades back and down. Stop the movement, but feel the anchored position that you sit in. Bring the palms together, touching the thumbs into the sternum, that little bony ridge at the center of the chest. And just pause for a moment to notice the beating heart. Allow, if you are able, the chin to move towards the fingertips. And again, noticing that subtle movement opens up the pathway of energy, base of the neck all the way down the spine. And now, allow the eyelids to gently open. No strain on the eyes or this experience. Nice soft gaze. Inhale, raise the chin, raise the gaze. Release this breath and maintain the peace. Namaste.
Yes, yes, namaste. Thank you, PY.
You're welcome.
Well, it is week 5 of our masterclass. We are going to be studying chapter 5, and what we have been looking at, chapters 3, 4, and 5 are all about creating your prosperity mentally. And we started by looking at how we do that with writing. And then last week it was in pictures and visualization. And so this week we're going to be looking at the spoken word, which is wonderful. Now, I'm curious, and some of you may have already shared it in the comments, as we've been talking about normalizing our desires last week, share in the comments, right? Which desire are you ready to normalize in your life this week? You can share the desire, or you can post an emoji that relates to it, whether it's the actual thing or symbolic, so that we get a sense of as a community, not we as in PY and myself, but so that we as a community get a sense of all of the wonderful things that are being called into this beautiful space of prosperity that we are co-creating and have co-created together. So I encourage you to do that as we're moving into this chapter, which is so good.
I hope everybody is enjoying this book as much as we are.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And before we touch on to get started in the chapter, I also want to highlight this, and PY has been sharing this with the Prosperity Circle as well. This may feel like everything is coming to you real fast, right? Because we're already in week 5, and I know some of you still are doing release work or still need to do release work or may have just gotten to that part. And that's okay. That's fine, right? Move through your process as you need to. And I think it's important that we understand, see, we tend to get very impatient with life. Everything you want, you want it now. You want things to happen right away. You want it to be miraculous and instantaneous. Life can only respond to you at your level of willingness.
Which is what I was talking about in meditation. Right.
Like it can only respond to you at your level of willingness. And so there's an opportunity, and I think some of you are at that place, right, where you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, and you're in this space of what I like to call just, I'm off the sidelines, I'm in the game, I'm fully in. Like, whatever I need to do, I'm going to do it. Week to week, no matter what, I'm going to schedule it. It must ultimately become the most important thing, right, in your life, your prosperity, right, and your desired prosperity. And so, again, it's okay. Move at the pace that you want to move at. And don't get mad at life, right? Don't get mad at the universe or impatient with the universe.
And don't get impatient with yourself.
Yeah.
We are, when you said off the sidelines, I remember when we first met, we didn't know each other. We were in a retreat, and we both had that same thought. I can't remember who said it first, but it was like, I'm ready to step into the next version of myself. And it didn't happen overnight, but we were willing to be consistent.
Right.
And that means even when the times when we didn't feel like anything was changing or happening, I'm going to be consistent with my practice. I'm going to be consistent with my self-love. I'm going to be whatever I need to be consistent at to support the changes that I desire.
Right.
That's what I'm going to do. Not to beat myself up, but to love myself more. What if we get consistent in that?
Right.
What if we are, no matter what, we're willing to love ourselves more? We're willing to be consistent in, maybe you don't read the whole chapter in one sitting. Maybe you read a page. And then a few hours later, you read another page. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to kind of piggyback on what PG is saying. Don't be lying to yourself about your consistency.
Right.
Because I'm going to read a page now and a page later is great. But what you're doing in between, are you scrolling in between? So it's not to beat yourself up or to judge what you're doing. It's to become aware of what you're doing and where you're using your time. And so in a loving way, once you realize, oh, well, yeah, I did pick up my phone and I could have used that time to even go to the mirror and affirm, which we're going to talk about. We could do something different. And that builds on our level of consistency. And that builds in our minds and in our hearts what we say we want. The universe ain't requiring you to do more. I said that earlier too. But what are you really consistently supporting in your life?
Right. And this is not about proving anything to God, right? No. So a way to think about this is if you had a box, it was a small box and can only hold 2 items, right? But you want more. What would you have to do? You would have to get a larger box. All the practices and work that we're doing is expanding ourselves to receive more. A bigger box so that more things can be put in the box. So it's not that I'm proving something to life or life is testing me or God is, withholding from me until. It's just literally the box can't hold more than 2 things. And if it's not right or wrong, it's not good or bad.
And if the 2 things are unloving thoughts, where are you going to put the love in? If the 2 things are, doesn't work for me, where are you going to put seeing that it works? if the two things are whatever that are not beneficial,
Yep.
don't beat yourself up. Don't get a bigger box and put more of the unwanted in it. Get the bigger box and fill it with what you want, your desires, and the truth of it.
Yes, yes, beautiful. And I'm seeing the comments, right? Desire for romantic connection and peace. I'm seeing homes, emojis, and moving and retiring, all of these wonderful things. So this is good. We're all in the same boat, right? In the same place. That's good. That's good. So let's tap into this. Create your prosperity mentally first through the spoken word. The third way to create your prosperity mentally is by speaking the word of prosperity. Again, as a reminder, what's the first way? Writing. What's the second way? Through pictures, visualization, your imagination. So the third way is by speaking the word of prosperity. Florence Scovel Shinn once said, any man or person who does not know the power of the spoken word is behind the times. I agree. And y'all remember Florence Scovel Shinn, we did the Game of Life and how to play it as our master class a few years back. By first listing your desires and then picturing them. So also, see, there's order to this, right? By first listing your desires and then picturing them, you create your good on the invisible plane. You gather the substance, gold dust, of the universe together on the invisible plane. But it is through the spoken word of prosperity that your words then move on that invisible substance, form it as definite results, and give it birth in the visible world. The words utter and outer have similar roots. What you utter becomes outer in your world. Christmas was coming and a certain woman needed more money. She consulted a friend who said, just affirm that you have plenty to share and to spare. She did that. That Christmas, people kept giving her fruitcakes. She had plenty of fruitcakes to share and to spare, but no money. If you would have more prosperity come to you, speak definite words that will bring it. Do not expect a general affirmation to produce a specific result. Now, I love this, and I could go on a tangent here, and some of y'all know there will be a class at some point on affirmations, because while this is nice, right? I have plenty to share and to spare, but it's so general that she actually didn't get what she really wanted. And so there are a lot of people out here posting affirmations all on social media. They're cute, they're nice. Many of them are very general and are not going to produce the results that you actually want. They need to be definite. Do not expect a general affirmation to produce a specific result. The great people of the Bible knew the power of the spoken word, and they dared to get definite about prosperity in their words. Jesus affirmed, "Give us this day our daily bread." It has been estimated that the spoken word of prosperity can speed up results by as much as 80%. I believe it. A businessman had been jobless for 4 years, was 55 years of age, and had been informed he was too old to get another job. He had studied metaphysics for 30 years, but had been unsuccessful in applying it to his job situation. When asked about the affirmation he was using, he replied, "I've been reading inspirational books and attending church services, but haven't used any specific affirmation decrees." He was reminded that for every 15 minutes of spiritual study, he should spend at least 5 minutes speaking affirmations. He decided to try it. He daily affirmed aloud, "I am a divine idea in the mind of God, and I am now guided into my true place with the true people and with the true prosperity." Within a short time, one of the many jobs he had applied for opened to him, and he became manager of the South American division of a large U.S. company. He later wrote, "I can attest to the fact that spoken decrees get your prayers answered. Prosperity affirmations turn the tide from failure to success. For me, when I had been out of work for 4 years, was heavily in debt, and when just reading inspirational books had not produced results. Reading about prosperity isn't enough. It is the spoken word of abundance that gathers it to you." Now, I've shared this in past classes, the Affirmative Prayer Mastermind last year. I shared this to underscore the reality of why we must learn a simple time-tested method that we teach in Affirmative Prayer, the Mastermind, and why it is important. We must speak out the prayer. We must speak out the affirmation. So there's a beautiful formula here that's given. For every 15 minutes of inspirational study, reading, etc., we should spend at least 5 minutes speaking affirmations. And guess what? You're speaking more than 5 minutes of affirmations every day.
All day long.
So if you have your 15 minutes of your daily spiritual practice, you
What I
have your
was gonna say.
555.
That's taken care of
That's taken care of. What kind of speaking are you doing
for the rest of your day.
for the rest of your day?
And again, not to judge anybody for what they do, but the more our level of awareness about how we really live becomes apparent, the easier it is to shift it. Right? And so, yes, you do your 555, and that's amazing. It's the groundational. Ooh, I need to make that a word. It's the foundational. It's the foundational piece of your day. And then what you're doing the rest of the day. Right? What are you doing? What are you thinking? And you can always tell, even if you're not conscious in the moment, what you're really thinking and probably speaking unconsciously, but how you're feeling in the moment.
Yep.
If you check in, it's the first manifestation. I talked about this in the prosperity circle. If you all of a sudden feel tension or you notice tension, what was happening before you noticed the tension? Where was the pattern of your thinking and speaking? And what conversations were you in? Because remember, everything we speak is a prayer. And in some ways, a prophecy of the next moment.
Yep.
Right? So where did this energy of come from? Or where did the anger come from? It's okay that you have emotion, but if it's unwanted emotion, shift it.
Yeah. And you can see he was a good metaphysical student.
That was my other thing.
Right.
This is why I love this story.
Right. Studied metaphysics for 30 years, right? He'd been reading the books, attending service, probably giving, on Sunday, right? But he wasn't using the power of a spoken word.
To his advantage.
Right. And immediately, once he did that, right, something beautiful, something powerful happened, right? Reading about prosperity is not enough. So if all you're doing is reading or following along with us and you haven't started to apply these principles, that's not enough, right? And so it is the spoken word of abundance that gathers it to you.
Because I love the fact, sometimes we get so set in our ways, we do it the same way all the time. He was reading, he was studying, he was going to church or a spiritual community, wherever he was. And in his mind, he thought, this is the way to make it happen. But it really wasn't for him. 30 years, he thought he was in the number, so to speak, as they used to say. 30 years, if you're not seeing results, it's time to switch it up.
Right. And this is also why we must continue to live in a beginner's mind. We must continue to live.
Yeah, I've been doing this for 30 years.
Right.
I can just hear it in my mind.
Right. The I don't know mind, the being willing to ask the question. So he reached out, he had a conversation with Catherine Ponder, right? All of those things are very important. Right?
And we see that a lot of times when we're coaching or even working one-on-one with people or whatever. I've been studying metaphysics for whatever the number. And I'm like, okay, good. You have a foundation. Now, how can I help you expand?
Right.
There's no judgment. There's no magic number for how long you have to study. But are you willing to keep the beginner's mind and keep allowing yourself the opportunity to grow and learn and try new approaches to it?
Yeah. Prosperity affirmations that work. A prosperity affirmation that increased one man's annual income to 4 times its previous level was, I have a large, steady, dependable, permanent financial income now. A teacher who needed extra income began affirming, I give thanks for a quick and substantial increase in my financial income now. After one session of verbal affirmation, she got the idea to apply at a certain fashionable clothing store for a part-time job. One night a week and Saturdays. They hired her. Not only has she enjoyed the increased income, but the job, working with beautiful merchandise and beautiful surroundings, has given her a change of pace, and she now looks forward to both jobs with pleasure. Notice something, right? So sometimes we want these things to be magic, and we have to understand what's happening. So after a round of affirming this truth, she got an idea.
An inspired idea.
Right? Because God is with and within her and working within her. If she had been looking outside of herself and waiting for cash to fall out of the sky, right, or waiting for some external thing, she might have missed the hunch that was leading her right to what it is that she just said she wanted. A businessman went from $12,000 a year to $25,000 a year. Within 6 weeks from the time he began affirming, I am surrounded by divine substance, and this divine substance now manifests for me in rich, appropriate form. An affirmation that has often opened new channels of supply for many is, I trust the universal spirit of prosperity to provide richly for me now.
You know, one of the things that Catherine Ponder does so well, and you might have noticed it or not, is the word now. Many times we have an affirmation, but we don't give it a target time frame because we're afraid that we might not get it, or we have all these apprehensive thoughts about it. She is definite with the infinite now. And the now might be the next week. The now might be an inspired idea that drops in. But the word now is important, not because you're antsy or scared, like now, I got to have it now. It's now because I'm ready now.
Right.
I'm signaling the universe now so that whatever the now ends up being, a day from now, 2 weeks from now, but it's now.
Right. And the other important part here, so last week we talked about visualize, normalize, materialize. The reason the now, and this could trip you up because you're saying now and you're like, but it's not here.
Right.
That's the visualization part and the normalization part. You're normalizing it in your mind, because the only thing that can ever take place, it has to exist in your mind and be normalized in your mind in order for it to demonstrate and materialize. So that now is not a lie. The now is the impressing of your subconscious mind and living in the reality of it as it is now.
Right.
Right?
Right. You're not lying. You're not saying, I'm saying now, but I don't see my lover. I'm saying now, but I don't see the money in my bank account. You're impressing your mind with the possibility of now.
With
right?
the actuality.
With the actuality of now.
Yeah. Yeah. More affirmations. A couple moved from one town to another. In the process of moving, some furniture was damaged. The insurance company, which was supposed to cover the loss, would not even send a representative out to check on the damage. The couple finally resorted to writing the insurance commissioner, but this brought no action either. One day, after attending a prosperity lecture, they began affirming these words: I trust in thee, O God, and thy righteous law. I know that my own will come to me, and I rest in confidence and peace. Shortly thereafter, a representative from the insurance company telephoned them long distance and said he was sorry about the oversight and offered them a settlement. This is beautiful because, again, we forget as metaphysicians the power that we possess. We immediately go to, let me write letters, let me do all of this. When this is why sometimes y'all might hear us affirming easily and effortlessly, and you think, that's crazy. This was an easy and effortless. It's much easy and seemingly effortless to just affirm a sentence versus getting into a fight and writing a letter and taking all of that time. And then what happens? They call them.
Right.
Right. And honestly, this statement actually doesn't do anything for me. I've read this many, many times. I don't get it personally. Right. But it worked for them. This is what they needed to really align their minds, that they were trusting in source to work this out and bring it to them, and so that they could be resting in confidence and peace.
You're right, because it doesn't do anything for me either.
Right.
And so it's a beautiful thing to figure out what works for you, what gets that spark. Sometimes in coaching, people will say, tell me their affirmation. I'm like, did you just get that out of a book, or do you believe it?
Right.
Right. So yes, these are some powerful affirmations, but if it doesn't ignite something within you, tweak it.
Right. And clearly they were operating from inspiration. They had attended a prosperity lecture. They were charged up. They were excited. Boom. Right. Why prosperity affirmations are so powerful. The ancients knew why. They knew about the dynamics of sound. They knew that every spoken word has tremendous power, and that by certain arrangement of words, tremendous vibratory forces can be set up in the invisible, profoundly affecting substance and producing results. You can work wonders in your life by affirming prosperity out loud for just 5 minutes a day. I want to say this now, and this is going to be important. This is something we get to later. Yes, it is true, the certain words, as she said, arrangement of words, but of course we don't all speak the same language, right? And so there is a vibration, which is the thought behind the words that actually produces the results. Because if somebody doesn't know English or has never spoken English and can't use these affirmations, are they at a loss?
Right.
No, right? So that's important for us to understand. It is really what's behind the word that ultimately is what's producing the results. A widow who went from rags to riches within 20 years attributed her success to the daily use of one prosperity decree: God is my supply and my unlimited abundance of everything now. After beginning to affirm this, she went into business on a shoestring and for a time had to pray for her daily support. Once when she desperately needed $100, she walked the floor and spoke her prosperity affirmation aloud. As she was doing so, her secretary opened a file cabinet and found five old $20 bills hidden in an order pad. Another time, when she was affirming God as her unlimited abundance in an attempt to meet the payroll for her employees, a stranger walked into her store and offered to buy a piece of property he said she owned down the street. She exclaimed that she only wished she did own that piece of property. When the stranger explained that her father, now deceased, had bought the property for her many years previously, her attorney verified it. The businesswoman then sold the piece of property that a few hours before she had not even realized she owned, met her payroll, and had an abundance left over. How prosperity affirmations have enriched others. During the Depression years, a housewife daily gathered her little daughters around the kitchen table where they said prosperity decrees for the head of the house who was out of work. You have a wonderful job with wonderful pay. You render a wonderful service in a wonderful way. It worked. At the depth of the Depression, her husband was offered a job in the bonding business if he could raise just $25 to get started. He raided the sugar bowl and went into business. His wife recently stated that they were now worth $250,000. She commented, that $25 became $250,000 because I continued to speak prosperity decrees daily over the years. Furthermore, the daughters who helped her say the original prosperity affirmation are now all married to prosperous men and are leading busy, happy lives. Be definite in your words about prosperity if you want prosperity to be definite about you. One of the things that's powerful about this is she continued to affirm this in spite of what she was seeing. She continued to affirm this in spite of what the newspapers were saying. She was continuing to affirm this in spite of people being in bread lines and soup lines and all of the things that we know and have read about as it relates to the Depression. And I love it because as we think and hear about all of the things that are taking place with our economy now, you have the opportunity to still fix your mind on what is true and have a different experience and co-create a different experience for yourself and your loved ones. By using prosperity affirmations, you are not trying to make God give you anything.
Please highlight this.
Yeah, right? You are only trying to open your mind to receive the abundance God has already given you. Y'all hear that? People, I said highlight it. It's true, right? It's very important. Again, we're not convincing God. We're not trying to make God give us anything. We're not being good with our good affirmations. God, like, oh, wow, look at her.
Oh,
She really saying them affirmations. Let me give her a piece of candy. Like, no, right? That's not what's happening.
Let me put her on my nice list.
Right, that's not what's happening. Right? We are simply expanding ourselves to receive what's already given. Again, at some level, all of us, our box is finite, right, at this moment, but the box can continue to be expanded. So whatever it is that you desire, you expand yourself by expanding your mind, by expanding your thinking. This is why the title of this book and this class is Open Your Mind to Prosperity. That's what we're doing. And again, that's a continuous experience of opening and opening and opening, expanding. There was once an engineer in England who heard of spiritual healing and decided to investigate it in order to expose it as a hoax. He quickly discovered it was no hoax, became fascinated with the study of New Thought, and later left his engineering profession to become a metaphysician. He made the change rather suddenly and so was in need of money. He decided to spend 15 minutes a day for 1 year affirming prosperity, ease, money, and comfort. Within a few weeks, he had demonstrated prosperity to the extent that he never had to worry about money again. Nevertheless, he continued daily to speak the word for prosperity as planned. I love this because this reminds me of something that that you say, that PY says all the time, right? She said, if I won the lottery today, right, I would still be doing my daily spiritual practice tomorrow, right? Nevertheless, he continued to speak the word for prosperity. You can think about your own life. I know you've done it. We've all done it, right? You get the lover, you get the house, you get the job, you get the money, you get the good outcome, right? Whatever it is, you get the way out, way over, way through. And you're like, that was good. I'm done now. Right? And you go back to whatever you were doing before that created the situation that you needed support to get out of.
Right.
Continue daily to speak the word for prosperity as planned.
And it's not from fear. It's because there's no end to the ability to receive.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. Even speaking of the lottery, one of the things that I love, I actually get giddy about, is when I meet and talk to or have seen and read about lottery winners who keep winning. They're like, yeah, I won several million. I kept playing. And then they win more and they win more. Like, why would I stop? In that sense, right? When I know what this good thing works for me, right?
And it also, to me, points to the fact that they are not in a lack consciousness. Because there are a lot of people that win the lottery and millions and millions and then lose it all or spend it all or give it all away. Yeah. That lets me know that they are in a poverty mindset. Doesn't matter how much money. The mindset has to shift.
Yeah.
The other thing about this whole chapter, and we'll probably talk a little bit later about it, but pick one affirmation. Don't pick one and then all of a sudden, ooh, this one sounds better. Let me try. Yes, tweak it.
Yeah.
But every day switching it up,
right,
out of fear that it ain't working, is the problem.
Yeah. You notice each of these stories, it was one affirmation.
It was one affirmation.
Right.
Now, demonstrate and then pick another one if you want. But make sure you pick something that feels good, inspiring, that in the times when when the employees need to be paid, you can go to it, which is what affirmative prayer is.
Hello. The next mastermind is coming soon. We'll talk about that next week.
Right? So pick one. You might pick it one day and be like, but don't change it because you're afraid it's not working.
Right. The author's experiences with affirmations. Over the years, the power of the spoken word has proved priceless to those who have used it. My first book got into print as a result of affirmations. During the recession of 1958, by request, I taught a class on the spiritual and mental laws of prosperity. The people in my ministry were helped so much by it that they asked me to put the material from that class into a book. Never having written a book, I felt I had neither the time nor the talent for such a project and said so. However, one businessman in that class felt so strongly that I should write such a book that he offered to meet with me for an hour every morning at the church to pray affirmatively about it. At the time we started making affirmations, I had neither a book, a title, a publisher, nor any experience for such a task, so it seemed a fantastic prayer project. Nevertheless, as we began to use decrees, the whole format of the book unfolded to me in prayer, even to the chapter headings. As we prayed for a name for the book, a stockbroker in the prosperity class suggested an appropriate title, The Dynamic Laws of Prosperity. Now we needed a publisher. Under the circumstances, it seemed preposterous that I, an unknown writer, could just break into print successfully. But as we prayed affirmatively, decreeing that the God-appointed publisher would appear, an amazing thing happened. A man in the public relations business who had been helped by the class instruction walked into my office one day and said, "Your prosperity class has helped me in my business so much that I want to do something for you. What can I do?" When I explained my writing project, he said, "I have a friend in New York who is a well-known literary agent. Ordinarily, she does not take on unknown writers, but I will ask her about representing you." The result was that I soon had an agent and a publisher. Thus, the book, its title, and its publisher all came after the power of affirmation was employed. Then, as we affirmed that I would have time to write the book amid a heavy schedule of church work, somehow, in the middle of the night and at odd moments, the book was written. As the book was being completed, I was guided to marry an English professor. Later, his fine editing helped to make the book a bestseller. Affirmative prayer did a thorough job of providing me with all that was needed to launch my book into print. Yet the only contact or influence I had was that of affirmative prayer. Again, I couldn't have planned it this way. It's going to open, registration is going to open next week for the Affirmative Prayer Mastermind. And it's important for us to say this now. This always comes up in the mastermind and in classes around prayer. An affirmation is an affirmative prayer, and an affirmative prayer is a series of affirmations. And so we've been hearing, spoken word, affirmations, and you're thinking affirmative prayer is something different, right? Every affirmation that she's provided is an affirmative prayer, right? And what we do in the mastermind is teach you a very simple, quick, accessible format that you can use to craft your own affirmative prayer, to craft your own powerful affirmations that you can use in the moment when you need to, right? And so that's what they did. She said, we spoke the word. We affirmed that this is. We affirmed that we have a title. We affirmed that we have a publisher. We affirmed. And that affirmation is knowing that it exists right now, and bringing the focus of your attention and your mind to that reality of that which is. It exists now in the now because it exists in my mind. And then allowing life to unfold it in perfect ways.
Easily and effortlessly.
Easily and effortlessly.
You know, the other thing I love about this is how she approached it in her mind. This is a fantastic prayer project. It wasn't, woe is me. How am I going to do this? And let's get together and talk about woe is me. How are we going to do this? It wasn't begging God. It wasn't beseeching God. It wasn't bartering with God. It was like, we get time to get together and pray about this? Affirmatively, I get to sharpen my skills as a prayer practitioner, so to speak, right?
So please don't underestimate the power of your spoken word, the power of affirmative prayer. The only contact or influence I had was that of affirmative prayer. I love that in the context of now. Of course, at the time that she wrote this wasn't the reality, but as we live in this realm of influencers, yes, you are an influencer. And the only influence you ever need is the power of your spoken word. I don't care how many people are following you on social media, how many views or likes you get.
Right.
Right.
And even if you want to move into some realm that you've never been in before, just like her, all you need is a spoken word.
Yep. Spoken words quickly turn the tide. Often the casual word of success as expressed in general conversation produces tremendous results quickly. A discouraged woman telephoned a church secretary saying she wanted to attend a prosperity lecture being given that evening, but I cannot attend because I have no transportation. Quickly, the secretary declared, of course you will have transportation, and I'll look forward to seeing you at the lecture. A few minutes later, the woman called back to report happily, you were right. I will have perfect transportation. My brother just dropped by for a visit and said he would be happy to attend the lecture with me. Because of the power of words, whatever a person voices, she begins to attract. Right. So this is again why we spoke about this idea of outside of your 15 minutes of daily spiritual practice, what are you speaking? Because what you're speaking, you're creating. You're right. All the time, right? You begin to attract. You're making it real in your life.
It's like and just notice, not that you should give up on your friends, but just notice when you out to brunch today, what kind of prayer project are you creating with your friends? And this is right, your friend. No, don't say that. This is about you noticing your prayer projects, your thoughts, your conversations.
Yep, no heat, no judgment. A group of 50 people had been studying truth for some time. They were meeting in rented quarters for their church services, and it was not a satisfactory arrangement. Then came a change of ministers, and the new minister knew about the power of words, knew that whatever a person voices, they begin to attract. At the close of each church service, this minister conducted a short meditation in which he described their new church and its quick and perfect manifestation. When he first began describing the new church in meditation, nobody paid any attention. They kept thinking, there's no way. But as he persisted, regardless of appearances, a group of men in the church asked to investigate the possibilities of a church loan from a reputable mortgage company. The mortgage company assured them of their interest, and in a matter of months, property had been located, plans drawn, and a building program undertaken. The minister continued speaking the word for their new church week after week. Soon after moving into the lovely new building, attendance had grown from the original 50 to almost 300 people. They proved the power of speaking the word as one wants things to be, regardless of conditions. The spoken word is so powerful that it begins to change conditions to conform to what has been spoken. The law of demonstration demands that what you desire to be and to do, you must declare you are and can do. Many a person has struggled needlessly for years with the problem of supply when their spoken word would have quickly released the necessary funds to them. Again, this story reiterates that same thing where she says the minister continued speaking the word for their new church. Somebody, this is lighting up a light bulb in your head right now. You realize that when the first part of the manifestation happened or the first result happened, then you stopped speaking the word, right? And we've seen it several times now. That's very important, right? And you continue to speak the word regardless of conditions, regardless of appearances. And then the other thing, the law of demonstration demands that what you desire to be and do, you must declare that you are and can do, right? So that's the other side of the coin. You hear us remind you all the time, you can be, do, or have anything you want, right? You can be, do, or have, be, do, or have. You've heard us say it. You've heard Abraham say it. You've heard Reverend Ike say it. You've heard everybody say it, right? You can be, do, or have whatever you want. But then you have to accept that as your reality and say, yes, I am this thing. Yes, I can be this thing. Yes, I can have this thing. Yes, I can do this thing.
And, it's not a lie. It's a choice. Right? So you can be, do, or have whatever you decide for yourself.
Yep.
Now, in this speaking the word doesn't mean you go out and tell the world. This is you with you speaking the word.
Right. Because it is done unto you as you believe.
Right.
Not as they believe.
Their life reflects what they believe, right? It's done unto you as you believe.
Yep.
And you can guess what? Belief is just a thought you keep thinking. And so guess what? You can always change your thoughts.
Always.
And if you keep affirming the new thought, it will become reality for you. But you can't keep affirming and contradicting, right?
Yep.
That level of resistance or going back into the old ideas is what, in a way, slows it down for you.
Yeah.
Not that it's not coming. You're just training yourself to be consistent in what you think. That's it. No judgment.
Right. Your secret text for prosperity. The ancient people felt that it was good to have a secret word, motto, or text which they could hold to in time of trial or strain. They felt that this secret text would rearrange their affairs and bring them through to victory. Among the secret texts they held to in times of trouble were Jehovah, or I am, in the Old Testament times, and Jesus Christ in the New Testament times. Let's stop and just say this now, because she's going to get into some things here that I think just aren't accurate in terms of proper reading of Scripture. One, we recognize that her use of Jehovah here, it ignores, or maybe she was unaware, right? That there were actually different uses and names for God, and it had to do with different schools of that wrote parts of what was compiled and became what we call the Old Testament. So Elohim is another word that was used, right? Yahweh is another word that was used. And those were specific to those specific communities. It's just a huge generalization to generalize the Old Testament as thinking about Jehovah. But we recognize the power of I am is important, right? That the burning bush story. And for those of you that remember it or have revisited it recently, in the All I Need Is One prayer series a few summers ago, right, that I open up by talking about the power of the I am, right, and what that's really all about. And I think, again, Jesus Christ in the New Testament, I think that's a generalization, but definitely we're going to talk about the power of the Christ and the understanding of that, and deal with some of the ways that she talks about this here in the text. I first become aware of the prospering power released through dwelling upon the name Jesus Christ when I heard of Dr. Ernest Wilson's experiences many years ago. We have often thought of Jesus as the healer, as the great healer, and he was. But he also used the mental and spiritual laws of prosperity as evidenced by many of his prosperity miracles. Jesus was the master teacher of prosperity. No person's name ever stood for such colossal achievement as the name of Jesus Christ. This is power for colossal achievement along all lines to those people who dwell upon that name today. She's quoting Ernest Wilson there. This came to my attention when Dr. Wilson related how during the Depression he began nightly to contemplate the Christ in his meditations. At that time, he was reasonably successful. He was editor-in-chief of the Unity Publications, was giving a number of radio talks each week, conducting a weekly class in Kansas City, as well as delivering a Sunday night lecture and teaching a class in Sunday school. Nevertheless, he became restless with a divine discontent. As he nightly contemplated the Christ, not only did unusual spiritual growth take place, but prosperity and success opened to him in a big way. The weekly class he had been conducting grew from 400 to 1,400. The Sunday night lecture grew in attendance from 400 to 900. The Sunday school class grew from 70 to 300. As he continued to dwell on the Christ in nightly meditations, he began to write and lecture extensively. A few years later, he went to Los Angeles, where he founded Christ Church Unity. For many years, under his leadership, it was one of the world's largest metaphysical churches. Charles Fillmore discovered the prospering power that is released in the name Jesus Christ. He wrote in his book, Prosperity, "The mightiest vibration is set up by speaking the name Jesus Christ. This is the name, above all names, holding in itself all power in heaven and in earth. It is the name that has power to mold the universal substance. It is one with the Father-Mother substance, and when spoken, it sets forces into activity that bring results." Okay. So the first thing we must highlight, which you may remember from week 1, this book was requested to be written by Catherine Ponder to be used as a textbook for the Unity Church. Because it was written as a textbook for the Unity Church, it is going to teach the underlying theological positions of the Unity Church. And so we recognize that the Unity Church does center the use and the name of the Christ and Jesus Christ as a power principle, right? And so it makes sense that this is here. And she's specifically calling on the name of the founder of the Unity Church and talking about it in that context. The name Jesus Christ can be used as a source of power to the extent that you believe it has power, to the extent that you believe it is power for you. Now you notice though, there's a juxtaposition because she says Wilson was meditating on the Christ and then the use of the name Jesus Christ. We must recognize that Christ is a consciousness and a principle. And I think this is where New Thought expands, and particularly as we stand on the shoulders of Michael Beckwith and others, New Thought, ancient wisdom, right? And so the ancient wisdom is that this wisdom existed before Jesus Christ, right? This power existed before the person and personality of Jesus Christ. So to the extent, if that's beneficial to you to use that name, but where we get tripped up, particularly now, is for any of us who grew up in traditional Christianity, we were taught to invoke the name of Jesus Christ as though it were a unique power, the only power, and it was somehow doing something special for us or to us or through us. And so it's important for us to note that if we choose to use the name of Jesus Christ, that it is not a uniquely singular power, right? But that is our way to access that in our own minds. I share this all the time in the prayer class. I grew up hearing testimony services and people were like, they were almost in a car accident and all I could say was Jesus. And the other car swerved the other way. It's not that Jesus, the being was like, absolutely involving itself in that car accident or preventing the car accident. That's what they were able to bring their minds and focus to that which represented safety, a miraculous outcome, ease, etc. And that's what they were able to utter, right? Snarkily, I've always thought about as a child even, well, why didn't they say Jesus? And if I said Jesus, would I have access to the power or not, right? Furthermore, if you want to get deep, and this is on the theological, Jesus' name is not even Jesus. It was Yeshua. right? So if all you could say, why was their power in why is there power in saying Jesus Christ, this English translation, when the man's name is actually Yeshua, right? And if we were going to translate it to English, it should actually be Joshua, because in the Old Testament, Yeshua is translated to Joshua, right? So I highlight that not to, call people out or try to demonstrate my smartness, right? But it's to demonstrate the reality that, it can't be about the name itself. Mm-hmm. It has to be about the thought that I've given to the name, right?
The power that I've given.
Right, yeah, and the power that I've given. Because if we want to be technically accurate, we should be saying, Yeshua, right? Or we should be saying Christos, right? If we want to be absolutely accurate to make sure that we're accessing the power, but we recognize that that's not necessary.
Right. It's not. Yeah. It's definitely not necessary.
Yeah.
And so, if you grew up in a community where that was the reality, you can heal yourself of it now. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If you still have some anger or some resentment that's how you grew up, you can forgive that and set yourself free now.
Yeah.
What we're doing here is understanding the depth of the words that we use and why they work. Mm-hmm. We're not judging anybody for the choice of word that they use, right?
Yeah.
So he said snarkily, but he's changed since then and realizes, that's not where I want to put my energy.
Right.
That's not loving. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What I want to do is help people understand the truth underneath all things, which is what we want to do.
Absolutely.
Right? I didn't study all these years so I could win an argument.
Right.
I studied so I can support bringing people into their own understanding of the power underneath all words. And so I can relax and I can have a conversation with anybody.
Right.
And I do.
Right.
There are people in my family that don't believe what I believe. I don't judge them.
Right.
I hold on to the truth underneath it all.
So we'll read this last section and then we'll close here. The secret text helped the author. Since I have discovered this secret text for prosperity, I have found that my biggest demonstrations of good come after I use Jesus Christ affirmations. Again, that makes sense based on what Catherine Ponder believes and holds to be true. I recall once sitting in my church study in the early morning hours, planning my work for that day and realizing there were not enough people to help with it. I needed a fast typist to do some special work that had to be done. I began decreeing, Jesus Christ now manifests the perfect typist to produce this work quickly, and wrote out those words on a card which I propped up against the telephone. About an hour later, a woman came running, not walking, into my study, breathlessly said, "Here I am." While having breakfast, I suddenly had the feeling, "You needed me. What shall I do?" "Can you type?" I asked, trying to sound casual. "Can I? Before marrying my husband, I was his secretary, and I'm one of the fastest typists in this town." Within a few hours, she had done, as a gift, free of charge, what would have taken the average typist several days to accomplish. In another instance, I had tried for weeks to get a repairman to my apartment. He had promised to come, but had not. The situation was getting critical because guests were scheduled to arrive. In praying about it again one night, I found myself decreeing, "Jesus Christ is here, making the perfect repairs now." Later, I wrote down those words in my book of affirmations. A great sense of peace descended over me, and I released the matter. The next morning, quite early, there was a knock at the door, and the repairman quickly did the work he had promised to do weeks before. Right? Something you may notice. Both of these stories are very similar to stories we already read that didn't use Jesus Christ as
I was going to say that.
Right, as its source of power, right? So by all means, if it works for you, powerful, use it. And from this vantage point, right, from this place in reality, right? She wrote this book it started in the 50s and in the 60s, right? We're in the 21st century. We have more information than she had at the time when she wrote this book. And so we recognize that may or may not work for you, and that's okay.
Right. It's the power behind the affirmation. Maybe Jesus Christ doesn't work for you. Maybe it's the light. She says Jesus Christ is here. The light in me makes way, the perfect plans, the perfect repair, the whatever now. Right?
Yep. It's all good. It really is all good in that sense. So this is as far as we're going to move in this chapter. She continues to share more stories and more affirmations. I love this chapter because it's chock full of powerful affirmations that I think will turn you on and get you tuned into that frequency, or will inspire some of your own. As this chapter talks about the power of the spoken word and talks about the affirmative power of prayer. I will say it again. Registration is going to open next week, and we'll be announcing that next Sunday. So if you've been wondering about that, and some people have reached out to me about it, it's going to be starting in August. Registration opens next week. And so this will be a wonderful way for you to really tap into that and tap into the power of speaking your prayer aloud, right? But also speaking and affirming and knowing that truth for others, which is very helpful, very helpful. So please, your assignment, as always, is to continue. Read this chapter, finish this chapter, reread it again, come back to this live stream, hear the words that we've shared this week. Send in your questions. truthsunday@celebrationsc.org. We are happy to incorporate those questions because it helps and supports everyone to the extent that anyone has questions. And we're going to move forward with week 6. Chapter 6 has some beautiful things to talk about. And I'm really looking forward to teaching that chapter and teaching it from our perspective and teaching it, I think, the way that we've done at CSC down through the years as we think about the things that she shares. So in this moment, it is time for giving. And we say each and every week that as you give, you receive. And that's just the truth, right? And the giving and receiving starts in mind. It starts in consciousness. So as you give in consciousness, you receive in consciousness. As you think in consciousness, you receive in consciousness. And so it really is the thought behind the amount that you choose, right? If the amount that you choose, if you find yourself in fear, doubt, and worry, angst, anxiety, unfortunately, that would then be what you're planting in your own life, not in CSC's life, right? But in your own life. And so it's important that in our giving, we're giving with love, we're giving with joy, we're giving from a place of appreciation, right? As we give where we're spiritually fed, we're appreciative of this community and that it exists. We want it to continue to exist for many, many years. We're grateful. Many of you, I think about this and say this all the time. You can think about someone had to give and support this ministry so that it could be here when you found CSC, when CSC came into your life and you've been able to benefit from it. And so these are the loving and lovely reasons that we give. And then as we give, we receive all of that energy that's behind our giving and behind the amount that we're choosing to give. Then we're going to reap that in multiple ways, right? Not just financially, but in so many other ways, in whatever way you need to experience prosperity, peace, and plenty in your life. And so as we give, then we affirm this truth. All the money that I circulate returns to me multiplied in a never-ending cycle of increase and enjoyment. And to that we say amen.
Amen.
Ashe.
Ashe.
And so it is.
So it is.
And so it is. Yes, yes. Well, we love and appreciate each and every one of you. Again, happy Pride to New York as the best parade of the season happens today to close out Pride Month. We trust that you will enjoy the rest of your day and will continue to love yourself. Will continue and begin to use the power of your spoken word constructively, right? Continue to use it in a way that is life-giving and life-affirming and life-supporting. And if you find that you're unable to do that, hush your mouth. It's okay. It's okay to not say anything, right? As you continue to work on building this muscle of speaking that which you actually want to see in your world. Prosperity Circle, shout out to y'all. We'll see y'all,
Prosperity Circle.
As we continue to grow together. And we look forward to you all joining us on Wednesday for the Momentum Prayer Call. All right? Enjoy your day. Bye for now.
Bye for now.